Hi, Brett Schaefer here with my 31st episode of What's Up at the InSource Group, and today I have as my special guest Tyler Lemke. Tyler has a degree in computer software engineering and has over 3 years in the IT industry, including app dev, DevOps, tech support, and part-time instructor. Tyler, thanks for joining us.
Hey, I'm really excited to be here, Brett. Thanks so much.
Great, great. You know, as I've talked to you and got to know you a little bit better, Tyler, it looks like you're juggling a lot of things early on in your career. Where do you seem to spend the majority of your time?
You know what? I actually spend my time on a lot of different stuff. I do YouTube. I actually just gave a talk this week at a meetup. Okay. I'm working on my personal branding constantly.
Right.
And I'm trying to put my eggs in a lot of baskets to make sure that I never get, in a bad situation.
So you're trying to spread yourself out pretty thin, so you're like, okay, where my strengths are and see which one kind of takes off?
Yeah, and see which one takes off. If one of them takes off, if YouTube were to take off tomorrow, then I would probably put all my focus into that. It hasn't quite gotten there yet.
Okay. I see you are currently doing some DevOps work. And I've said before in some of the videos, it seems like DevOps means something different to everybody I talk to. What does DevOps mean to you? Yeah,
see, this is an interesting question. I'm afraid because some DevOps guys are gonna be like, I've only been doing this.
Right.
I've only been doing this for like a year, but from what I understand, I've heard other DevOps professionals. It's like you have operations, right, which is the networking side, getting code deployed out into production. So then you have the dev side, which is what developers do, making code. So it kind of brings those two together. And from what I can tell, containerization, all this other stuff has kind of merged these two fields together, where you're automating a lot of the processes, and you go into how can I get more quality? So putting your test into your CI/CD pipeline, like getting things checked before they get into production.
Right. Nope, that's very good. What is it about DevOps that you like?
I really love code quality. I love when things go right.
Right.
So I'm constantly trying to control things. Go, okay, how can I make this stuff better? So I like processes, and I like making things go smoothly each time. And then when you go and deploy,
are you successful with that?
I try to be.
Okay. All right.
I convince my boss I am, right? But,
all right.
I like things to go the same way each time, and that's why DevOps has kind of become a big thing, because if you're deploying to a lot of different places at once, if you try to go do that manually over and over again, you're going to make a mistake.
Right. Well, listen, there's a lot of companies looking for DevOps people out there right now, so you're doing the right thing. So why do you like being a full stack developer versus just a front-end developer or just a back-end developer? Because that seems to be also a key word in the industry here today.
Right. So there's a few different reasons. One of them is money, right? We all like money. We all need to put food on the table. You make more money as a full stack developer versus being just back-end or especially front-end. You'll make more than just being a front-end developer. The other reason is I like to have a lot of different things to work on. So I kind of get bored sometimes. So I work in QA automation. I've done DevOps. I do front end, back end. I do SQL. I'm working with a lot of different technologies. So you're not going to get bored anytime soon.
No, that's true. That's true. If you do that. So what technologies do you use for DevOps?
So this is interesting, because a lot of people probably won't use this as much, but we're a .NET shop.
Okay.
Right? So we use all Azure DevOps.
Okay.
So I know a lot of other people use Jenkins and stuff like that. I actually like it a lot, but I've heard some people on the opposite side. But I actually like the tooling. It's all kind of vertically integrated, and you can actually use Azure DevOps not just for .NET stuff. A lot of people don't know this, but you can use it for everything. You can use it to deploy if you're doing full stack JavaScript, you can use that to deploy through Azure DevOps as well. And they even have a free version. So I go try it out. Not that hashtag not sponsored, right? But go and try it out and see if it might be a good platform for you.
So did you pick up this experience, because I know you like to self-teach yourself in a lot of different areas. Did this just come natural to you? Is the companies that you've worked for paid for the training, or is this something you've done from a self-taught standpoint?
So that's a really interesting question. So I got put on a project that was basically worked on for 10 years, and the guy left the company. So they're like, let's go grab this junior developer,
let him work it out,
and let him work on it, right? So I started working on this stuff. I was like, how do I do this, right? And so one of the tricks that I want to mention is go to blogs of experts, right? So go to your if you're in a Microsoft or a .NET stack, go to the MVPs, or go to the the Java, I'm gonna mess it up now, the Java heroes or something like that. I can't remember. Go to the people who are well known in the industry and go find how they do it. Yeah, go and find go and find blogs of people who've been doing this for 10 or 15 years.
Okay.
That's kind of what I did, and I said, I kept asking questions to other developers, and they had they didn't know about this and they didn't know about that, and I was like, I have to be the expert on this, so I'm gonna go teach myself, and I'm gonna go find someone else.
So did you, by going out to the blogs, did you just read what they had written out there, or did you go out and ask questions?
I did both. So actually, I went, and it's really cool. You can go out to someone who's really good. Colin is the guy I reached out to for .NET stuff. I can't remember his last name. I can't pronounce it right now. But I went and reached out to him on Twitter, and he got back to me. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And that's one cool thing I've learned about being in development is you can reach out to people who are famous.
Right.
But they're not really famous, so they don't mind talking to you.
They'll get back to you.
Right? So they'll get back to you.
Interesting.
So it's pretty cool.
Interesting. How do you stay proactive in your job search or to keep your skills up to date when you currently love the job that you're doing?
Yeah, so I love the job, and I love the culture and everything like that, but you never know what's going to happen the next day, right? And you never know if your interests might change and things like that. So one of the ways of doing it is, we've talked about before, I tried to build my personal brand, right? I've learned a lot about that recently, and I also try to keep my skills up by going on things like codes. I think it's Code Signal or Code Wars. If you go to these different groups, where, see, the problem is, Brett, you development and looking for a job are two different things.
Absolutely.
And the problem is when you need a job and you haven't been keeping those skills up,
you're in trouble.
You get in a bad situation. Yep. So
we see that all
I
the time.
I never know what's going to happen. So I just try to do the things that you're going to do, even though you don't need a job yet.
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And I tell candidates that all the time as well, especially people who've been with the company for 10, 12 years. When they start looking for a job, they haven't written a resume in a long time. And it's really important to keep your skills up and to make sure you leave notes for yourself, or create a folder on your computer with just what I've done this year, what projects I worked on, what skills they were. Because if you add all of that up, 10 years later, you'll go back and, I forgot about that project that I worked on 4 years ago. And I think it's really important to keep up to date with all that stuff. So
yeah, and if I might interject as well, like, if you keep notes of all that stuff, that's the stuff you need to bring into your
yes.
when you're trying to get a raise, right?
Right.
So you might as well keep that stuff anyway.
Right. So how did you get into software development?
Like a lot of people do, like when you're a kid and you want video games, right? So I tried to teach myself C++, and it's really hard language to learn as a beginner. A lot of schools, a lot of boot camps teach other languages now, right? So this was years and years ago. I've dabbled in technology a long time. I've really been interested in technology. I'm like, man, this stuff's amazing.
Right.
And I got into hacking video games and cheats and stuff like that, and you kind of mess with the memory, and you start to learn these different principles. And so I was always interested in hardware, and then I started getting interested in software as well. And so I always knew it was there, but it wasn't until recently that I got my degree and actually said, I'm going to do this full time.
Interesting. Okay. I also see you're a part-time IT instructor. How did that happen? Where do you teach, and who are you teaching?
So this kind of goes to what we might get into a little bit later, but you have to be, networking is how you find everything, right?
Yes. Yeah,
so I just happen to be in the right Slack, there's Slack channels out there. There's one called DFW Devs, right? Okay. So I'd recommend, if you're in the Dallas area, go and check that out. And so I just happened to be in the job section. I saw, here's a part-time gig. This is perfect for me. So it's at a coding school called Thinkful, and it's not actually teaching those classes, but it's teaching just the intro classes to kind of get people funneled in that might be interested in the coding school or coding boot camp
to see
portion.
if that's the direction they
right.
want to
So
go
to
in
meet up,
okay.
I've done this meetup like 50 times now, and there's a bunch of different classes we teach: intro to JavaScript, intro to HTML, intro to CSS type of classes.
All right. What age group are these? High school kids, college kids, people who didn't get a degree, millennials, baby boomers?
It's all over the place. Typically it's not as many older folks, right? But we had a lady who was like 73 that came in and was teaching herself to code. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have, sometimes we'll have some visitors that are like there'll be the parents that they'll bring along their 10 or 12-year-olds that might be interested. So we have people all over the board. A lot of people that are careers transitioning, and they're saying, hey, I want to better myself, make more money for myself and my family, or they're sick of their career and they want to get into something different.
So how long are these classes? Are they a couple hours every other week? Is it for 6 weeks? What kind of a coursework is this?
So this is a meetup. So it's kind of a self-packaged thing. It's free that we were doing here locally in the area. So it was every week we had different ones, and there was another one for data science. Actually, I don't teach that one, but we were doing both of these weekly on a weekly basis, and we had 7 or 8 different meetups that you could go to teach yourself, like intro to code, intro to JavaScript, and just come in, and it's just sit down, hour and a half, and
so now's your plug. How do I find out about this? So if I wanted to do something like that, tell me how I'd find out about a meetup, and how would I know who the instructors are for that particular one?
So if you wanted to go out to different ones, the best thing to do would be go to my website, tylerslemke.com, and go to my appearances section, and you can go in there. I'll tell you which meetups I'm going to be at, and you can also contact me on the socials, all the socials under Tyler S. Lemke if you have any questions on that particularly. But if you're asking about how can you go to different meetups in the area, right? Because this is just one meetup.
Okay.
There's a lot. Just go up to meetup.com.
Okay.
And go type in whatever subject you're interested in, and go, hey, I want to learn how to code. Another one is Eventbrite. You can go on there and find different meetups that you can go to. So.
Okay. All right. Very good. What's the best career advice you've received?
Wow, this is a really, really good one. Now, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit here, because I said I'm interested in a lot of things. Right. But it's actually mastering the basics is probably some of the best career advice that I've gotten. Is that we're in a field, right? Technology is something that's constantly changing. So when you sit back and you master the basics, you actually get a firm enough foundation so that you don't get lost. This is actually one of my core principles is there's this book called The 5 Elements of Effective Thinking. Okay. And it talks about how those who don't master algebra, they really struggle in calculus, right? So
makes sense.
If you're out there and you're going, man, there's different JavaScript frameworks every week, well, go master JavaScript, and then you won't have as much of a problem.
I see. Okay. How do you stay relevant and on top of the news? Because as you just said, the industry is changing, technology is changing. Where's your go-to place for trying to find information to educate yourself more? So
this switches a lot, and I'm sometimes better than others at finding, doing the right thing. So there are podcasts you can go to. So go try podcasts. There's different newsletters, like the O'Reilly Books. They have a newsletter. They have a lot of good stuff on there. You can go to Reddit. What I caution, though, is don't get so caught up in, I need to know everything right now. Pick 1 or 2 sources. There's YouTube. There's YouTube channels. I think there's a channel on YouTube called Coding Tech I really like. And there's also a tab where I share some of the places that I've used to keep up on technology on my website as well. Right. So you can check that out.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Tyler, thank you very much for your time. The information you've given us has been great, and on behalf of the InSource Group, I appreciate you doing this for us. And remember, if you're a candidate looking for a change, or a hiring manager looking to bring some additional folks on your team, reach out to me. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Monday.